A little bit ago, I bought the One of Everything sample pack from HippoKeys, as I wanted to get a sense and feel for different switch types available. This was a great way to do it, as it comes with an awesome assortment of 30 plus different tactile, linear, and clicky switches. I finally got around to doing some testing, and figured why not document my findings and thoughts on how they feel and sound. These are typically the main variables when deciding on how to build out or upgrade your current keyboard. To make it a bit more interesting, I also wanted to find out if using ABS versus PBT plastic had any relevant impact. So I'll be using GMK Double Shot ABS Red Samurais and ACO Double Shot PBT Macaws in my testing. All of the experimenting was done in my modded Keychron Q1. I'll put the mods in the description below. Switches are all stock and will be tested on my Z key and left shift key. The stabilizer has been tuned with dielectric grease on the wire and 205G in the housing. Keep in mind that these are my opinions and by no means am I an expert. Also, that sound tests are usually quite subjective. The goal of this video is to give you some insight and to share my experience. There are a ton of outstanding resources to help you find the information you need to make a proper decision, all of which have helped inspire this video today. Let's get into it. The C3 TKC DragonFruits have a beautiful looking switch housing. The tactile bump feels a tad bit muffled for my liking, and I can definitely feel and hear some scratchiness. After the bump, there is still a good amount of travel distance, so it feels almost linear like. Durock T1s have an awesome bump right off the bat and provide that feedback you're looking for in tactiles. Very minimal scratchy feel and sound, great budget switch out of the box with some serious clack. I can see why it is highly recommended. Another beautiful switch from C3 and TKC. These vibrant Kiwis offer a more medium-like tactility with the bump being very near the top. I can see these being great for long typing or gaming sessions as they are super smooth from the bump to the bottom out. The Everglide Crystal Violets give a sharp tactile bump at the very top, but since they have a weak spring, they quickly bottom out, and they bottom out hard. They also have a very distinct tactile return. It feels as if they might get stuck, but never do. I would consider the Drop Halo True to be a low to medium tactile switch. It feels almost like you are in mid-bump right from the get-go, and with the super heavy spring, it makes it hard to bottom out. It feels like a heavy linear switch more so than a tactile. I really appreciate the pastel tones on the SP Star Magic Girl. They have a solid snappy medium tactile bump, an ever so slight amount of pre-travel to get there, and the sound profile was quite pleasant stock. Very surprised at how good the Kaihl Box Silent Browns felt, although I can see why some feel silent tactiles don't belong in the tactile family. It didn't have the feedback I needed, but it felt super smooth regardless. The glorious Pandas actually felt awesome, with a medium to high tactile bump providing great feedback that tactile lovers can appreciate. Great feeling switch makes me think I'm missing out big time by not trying some legit holy pandas. Gateron and Gopolar's Azure Dragon coming in with a beautiful colorway for Switch design. It's got a solid tactile bump with no pre-travel, long bump, and forced bottom out. Very similar feel to any Holy Panda clone. Not much needs to be said about the Boba U4T. I can see why there is so much hype and love for these switches. Different bottom out weights, clear and opal housings, but most importantly, great tactility stock. The Kaihl Box Royal is fairly smooth in spite of its heavy, sharp tactile feel. You will almost instantly bottom out after the tactile bump. I would expect them to be scratchier given these properties, but they weren't. DMK and Kailh's collaboration Cyperpunk switches have outstanding appeal. To me, they felt like a Box Royal just recolored. Smooth switch with great tactility, not as harsh and sharp as the Box Royal though. Last switch on the menu is the Yoke Purple Trash Panda. Some minor pre-travel before reaching the tactile bump, decent enough tactile feel, however very scratchy. So we've heard how these switches sound, now let's do a quick summary on the findings. Again, this is based off of my personal experience, so take it with a grain of salt. Also, keep in mind it's a measurement of them in their stock format. Do yourself a favor and experiment lubing or filming your switches. When it comes to the GMK ABS plastic versus the ACO PBT plastic for the keycaps, I found that there was minor differences in sound profiles, and even less when it came to feeling. So get what you like and what your budget allows. I had a hunch that the Bobas and T1s were going to be the top contenders, so not shocked here by them leading the pack. Even in their stock form, they feel and sound great with amazing tactility. I was pretty surprised at how decent the glorious Pandas were as well. In spite of all glorious shenanigans, they did some justice on this switch. I guess it's a vibe when you just don't give a fuck about anyone but yourself. The Azure Dragon, Kiwis, and Magic Girl switches are not only stunning to look at, they each held their own when it came to tactility, feedback, and acoustics. Another thing I found out about myself is that I am enjoying the nylon housing and palm stem switch variations more than the polycarb or polyethylene variations. I put the Cyperpunk and Box Royals together because, like I had mentioned earlier, they felt pretty much identical to one another. There wasn't enough feedback and tactility to satisfy my requirements, but if you're looking for a smooth tactile switch, these might have your number. I wasn't the biggest fan of the DragonFruits as they felt just too mushy from the get-go. I'm also placing the Halo Trues here as well, as I wasn't capable of adapting to the heavy bottom-out weight. At the bottom of my list are the yoked Purple Trash Pandas and Everglide Crystal Violets. Both had decent tactility, but shadowed by the combination of some spring and housing ping, and scratchy crunchy feeling when typing. And then we have this sleeper, the silent Kaihl Brown. I really did not expect big things from this switch, but was pleasantly surprised. You can bet that I will be exploring more silent tactile switches in the near future.